In the ruin of the ancient tower, cat and dog shelter from the rain, resting for the night, their arms, their legs tiring from the journey thus far. They near the edge of the world, this place forgotten by civilization, a pale reflection of the ancient societies that dwelled here. Cat can hear a noise outside, underneath all the rain. Footsteps. The light of his lantern and campfire betray his presence, yet the wanderers pay them no mind. Perhaps they know well the rules of the road. One must keep one's nose out of the affairs of others. And so it was that the stars would turn overhead as various creatures crossed nearby. Dog, as ever, keeping a close watch. Cat wakes early to a bleeding sky and a searing sun, his legs feeling fresher and his spirit longing to explore. Kia ora, Legionnaires, Rycon here, and welcome back to Tale of the Blade. We are here once again with Cat and Dog on the edge of the Leviathan coast. It's here that these two will trek to the very edge of this world to see what can be seen, to perceive sights that no eyes have gazed upon for generations. There is life here, and death. The giant Leviathans appear still as stone, and packs of Garu roam the crag tops. Where there is prey, there is often predators, and what might be hunting out here, Cat and Dog know not. But these two would be ready, should the challenge present itself. Past river raptors they ran, as those morning skies slowly darkened, the clouds thickening. They could see it now in the distance, that great sea spread before them, the edge of the world. Slowly, the tears of the sky lessened as the first remnant of civilization came into view. A toppled structure, half buried in the stone and sand, left to decay, forgotten by the world. The Leviathans seemed almost plentiful here, more existed than Cat once thought. He still wished them no harm. His pack was full of meat, as was his stomach. But this wasn't it. This wasn't the true edge. That stretched further on, to the east. There was a peak the two could make out. Perhaps a tower could still be standing there. But as Cat was running, there was a familiar scent on the air, galloping in their direction. A big thing. It had been long since Cat had a chance to test himself against the creatures. Would his name, Beakbane, still ring true? The creature had tremendous strength, but so too did young Cat. The duo were victorious, carrying but a few injuries, nothing that a little bit of rest couldn't fix. Cat knew big things well. Where there was one, there most certainly was more. There would have to be a nest somewhere. Just over the next rise, he had his answer, dropping his pack and charging in. Bane to many creatures, our duo finds himself fighting alongside a herd of Garu. Tormentors of this landscape, the big things stand little chance against the numbers and strength of a full Garu herd. And just like that, it's over. The smell of blood thick in the air. Cat and Dog have come such a long way since Vane. Generations of bones made up the nest of these creatures. It was clear that they'd been feeding upon the Leviathan as well. There were a few scattered eggs, at least one Cat would take for himself, a worthy item to trade. Continuing their journey across the coast, countless signs of battle were visible. Whole herds of Garus struck down. The fights would slow down Cat and Dog for but a moment. As they neared that peak, there was no tower atop it. Yet there was another to the south. Before that, though, was death. Quickly disposing of his heaviest items, the fight began. He would need to be nimble, quick. Cat swinging the blade like his life depended on it. As with Dog falling to the ground, it truly did depend on Cat, and only Cat now. Strike after strike, he blocks the big thing's attempts to kill. And that is the thing. These creatures are not messing around. If Cat goes down here, he could very well be eaten alive. With nearly every swing of the blade, a big thing is felled. A nearby Leviathan has gained the attention of a few, but for the majority, the attention has been firmly fixed upon Cat. A scream close by. 3 travelers. Shek, what in the world are they doing out here? There's no time for questions. One thing is for sure, they want those big things dead. They remain silent, tending to their wounds, and searching among the bones. Cat rushed back to his pack, and then to the side of Dog. He was in poor condition, yet the pup would live. By the time Cat rose, those 3 strangers were wandering on into the distance. The herd of Garu staying close to them. They were ranchers, maybe. It seems they had what they wanted, though. Their packs laden with the eggs of the big things. Picking up his companion, Cat would carry on. The ruin ahead of him consisted of 2 structures, one much more intact than the other. The first contained little more than sun-bleached bones and books that had almost petrified throughout the vast march of time. But the other structure, it was sealed, closed shut, the lock more complex than any Cat had seen before. Well, if he couldn't pick it, then maybe the blade would work. And so he swings, again and again, the blade impacting with the middle, echoing across the hills. Eventually, with Dog aiding him, they are victorious. It opens. Books. Countless books. Old scrolls, most of them burnt to a crisp, solid, petrified like those outside. The parchments were maps with places and names that Cat had never seen. There was a chest at the rear, much easier to pick than the door outside. Inside, Cat found 2 old maps. The first, an ancient rune of some kind, likely full of treasure, lost technology, or horrible death. The map, though, is insanely old, hard to understand. From what Cat can gather, though, it appears to be something related to science, technology, similar to some of the places he'd seen before. Yet this map is for the far southeast of the continent, a place Cat has never traveled, and a place he is far from now. The second is an ancient document created by an engineer of the old empire. Details potential sites where research might be found. There are pieces of paper bound by steel, military documents. At least that's the way they seem from the pictures. Somewhere where equipment might be found. All of them valuable resources, but this was just the first floor. It seemed to be a lab, a place where one would study. The words Cat couldn't fully understand, but the pictures, the symbols he could. He'd seen them before, and the ancient books he'd recovered. Perhaps more goods could be found in this place. It seemed as though it'd been abandoned, left like this for a long, long time, locked up long ago, forgotten. The first small crate led to the find of yet another engineer's map. The next, a few old books that Cat couldn't understand. There was a small crate and display stand with nothing more than ash. And then 2 great empty chests, with the last containing yet another treasure map leading to an ancient lab. Back outside with Dog, Cat now has a chance to take stock of what he has found and what it could potentially lead him to. So, using these documents will allow Cat to mark on his map a number of points of interest, which he will do for all of them. And that now leads to finding where those things might be. Looking to the far southeast, in an area known as the Ashlands, we have an ashland dome rune, a place very, very far away from where we are now. The next location that we've discovered is an outpost just to the south of us, along a path leading through the Leviathan coast, a location that no doubt Cat and Dog will want to travel to, perhaps even today while there's still light. The next map location points to a great crater and a rune that's contained within, and the 2 final locations are both contained within the Deadlands. So, Cat has a few more points of interest across this vast continent. But right now, his interest is fixated on this outpost. And so the duo leave the lost library behind in search of this outpost that may very well be their home for the night. They cross a narrow spit of land as the sun lowers in the sky, afternoon turning to evening. As always, danger lurks close by. A big thing watches the 2 run past from the water's edge, perhaps weighing up its hunger versus how far it'll have to run to catch them. And there it is, clear as day, an outpost with walls, buildings, even the rain relents. Nearly there, but before they arrive, a crowd has formed. Dropping his pack to the ground, surrounded, Cat continues to fight. Every one of them, and with Dog standing at the end of it all. The clever pup was just playing dead. Now they can finally see the outpost for what it is. Forgotten. Left to time. Like so much out here. Yet, one building still stands intact. This door, though, isn't locked like the library. They spring to life in an instant. Security spiders, more than Cat has seen in one place at one time. They swarm. The young fighter, not ready to face such overwhelming numbers. His body falls amongst them. Dog waits patiently for his master outside. Cat tries to get to his feet and falls again. As night falls on the outpost, Cat's fate remains uncertain. Yet we know this lad is a fighter, and with the blade still with him, he'll rise again. But that, Legionnaires, for now, is where we shall end our tale this day. I would like to thank you all for joining me for another episode here in the world of Kenshi. Dangerous as it is beautiful, something that cat and dog know all too well. If you enjoyed today's episode, I ask you please consider leaving a comment or a like to let me know if you enjoyed the show. As for now, I have been Rycon. You have all been awesome. And until next time, stay tuned. Finally, I would like to extend a great big thank you to the Legion on Patreon who continue to make this content possible.